Welcome to the Soul Science Nutrition Podcast, where you'll discover that when it comes to your health, you're so much more powerful than you've been led to believe. And now, your host. She's a holistic nutrition and lifestyle coach, chef, author, and yogi, Christine O'Casey.
Hello, and welcome to the Soul Science Nutrition Podcast. I'm Christine O'Casey. Thanks so much for listening. When it comes to the expansive field of energy medicine, we are truly living in an extraordinary time. Never before have biofield therapies, aka energy healing modalities, been more accessible, as well as increasingly validated by the medical and scientific community. As for myself, I continue just to be in awe of all the many ways that we can work with our body's multidimensional nature in ways that facilitate our self-healing capacity and ultimately give us an experience of who we truly are. Well, if you're new to the experience of energy medicine, and even if you're not, you are in for a special treat with today's guest, Tracey Whittet. Tracey is a gifted energy facilitator and intuitive guide based in Santa Fe, New Mexico. She's trained in many energy healing modalities, including divine healing hands, Theta Healing, Reiki, access consciousness, Yuen method, and healing touch. Over the years, these and other trainings have evolved, leading her to implement an integrated method she calls Transmosis healing. On the show, Tracey shares the ins and outs of this unique energy clearing system. But even better, and you got to stay tuned into the middle part towards the end, even better, Tracey gives us, and including you as the listener, a special opportunity to experience this very sacred, very powerful process where she helps us clear away and dissolve that which isn't serving us any longer for our ongoing growth and expansion. I can't wait for you to listen to this fascinating, uplifting conversation. I'd love to hear from you. So if you like the podcast, I'd be grateful if you'd visit Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and review. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please do so you don't miss our next episode, which comes out every week on Thursdays. Thanks so much for listening and enjoy the episode. Hey, Tracey, welcome to the podcast. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you. It's great to see you.
Yeah.
Hear you.
Exactly. This is great. I'm very grateful for Planet Zoom. It's quite miraculous, really.
It kept it all together during, the pandemic.
Yeah. And you're coming in all the way from New Mexico, right?
Yeah. I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's beautiful here. The city different. It's like the oldest capital of the world of the United States.
And like a magical place. A really
very, very sacred. Very sacred. Yes.
Yeah. No coincidences. Thank you. So I'd love if we could start at the beginning. What brought you first to the practice and the field of energy healing?
I kind of joke and say that I'm an energy work junkie, but I just resonate with it and I just love it. And I think my natural inclination is to always self-improve myself. And I love the soul science of nutrition because who at 18 years old goes to the pool and reads, what your doctor didn't tell you about nutrition? I don't know why I was just gravitating towards that. And I guess it was back I'm older. So it was back in early 80s, 1980. I lived in Northern Virginia, DC metro area. And we lived in this neighborhood called Camelot. And we, had this wonderful woman that used to host every Sunday at her house. We'd go to her house for A Course in Miracles. We would study a lesson and discuss it. So it was like spiritual studies and things.
Yes.
And she did like reflexology on me and I learned about it. And I was like, oh, this is so great, and she invited someone in town. One of her friends had hosted a Reiki master to come to Fairfax, Virginia.
Okay.
And she encouraged me, you should take this. And I'm like, okay, okay. So I took Reiki 1, I think it was in 1983.
Oh my goodness.
And I guess any kind of energy work that I do, I found out that I had a natural ability. I guess I've always been kind of I am intuitive, but when I use the word psychic, it's like, it just feels more richer, soulful, more intuitive when I use that word versus psychic. Yes. But I think I've always been psychic. I just know things, but I don't know that I know them because it's like a fish in water. You don't know you're in water. You just don't know. And so when I took this Reiki class, I realized that I had a gift, and any energy work modality that I've ever studied, which is vast, many, I always share, the common denominator is I would always share what I hear and I see. And it's not like I see clairvoyantly. Sometimes I see lights and stuff outside of myself with my eyes open, but normally it's like clairsentient, like what I feel on the inner. And it's interesting that I think connection is the whole thing, connection to your divinity, because we are human beings, but we're divine human beings. And we forget about the divinity within us and making it practical into our everyday life. Right. And
yes.
So it started with Reiki, and then I did Reiki 2, and then I did Reiki 3 in 95, and healing touch, something called Yuen method. Cam Yuen is in Southern California. That was fascinating. That energy work. But the things that really stuck, and that I've just kind of like taken it all together, everything that I've studied, Theta Healing. I studied with Master Dr. Shaw, learned divine healing hands. There's just so many things that are beautiful, just kind of unusual and not real mainstream.
Yeah.
And if I follow my inner guidance, my life goes great. If I go against it and use my mind, not so much,
Yes.
So Reiki, healing touch, and access consciousness is amazing, right? I mean, it's just powerful. So simple, so easy. You just hold those 32 points on the head, and stuff just clears with their magic clearing statement. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 9, shorts, boys, and beyonds. It's like, what, goes right over your head, and it's supposed to, because it really clears stuff energetically. And one day I lived in Boulder, Colorado, or I worked in Boulder, Colorado, but I lived in Longmont, Colorado, and I was driving to work. And there's this wonderful woman named Vicki Cashman. And so I was driving by Vicki's house. I was at the 4-way stop, and I looked to my left, and I heard Spirit say, call Vicki. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I thought, it kept saying it, like my inner guidance was call Vicki. So I called her. I didn't know her real well. I knew she had a dome, like this geodesic dome event center, if you will. It's small, but it's like for workshops and things. So long story short, I called her, and her outgoing message goes, hi, friends. I'm out camping, but if you want an energy clearing session, please call Jean Skyfeather. I'm like, seriously? I finally called and she's not even there, right? So I hung up. And then I thought, wait, energy clearing session? I'm kind of curious. So I called back, and I wrote down the phone number for Jean, and sure enough, we got together that afternoon.
Wow.
At the Dome. And Jean offered an energy clearing session with this method that Vicki and Jean teach, called spirit mending or multidimensional body balancing.
Okay.
Now, this is the first time I have, if you sign up for a class, normally you get to go. But This is the first time that I had to interview to take this class. And it was a group interview. And what I found in this clearing that Jean did for me, that offered for me, was like, oh my gosh, they are giving structure to what I am doing organically or naturally.
Right. Exactly.
So it was like very curious. So I went, and I'm working full time. So I take off for an early lunch or whatever, and I go to this group interview, and they would ask us questions like, do you drink? Who are your guides? I don't know. They're just white light. They're violet. I don't know specific. So this is really weird. So I'm standing in line there to go to the restroom at our break. I look on the wall, and there are 2 pictures of these ascended masters. And for some reason, in any potent conference or spiritual event that I've been in, for example, Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. This was a long time ago in Denver, walk across the coals and all that stuff. He would take us through these 5 hours of the Dickens process of really going deep. Like, if you don't make change, what's going to happen to you? And I remember 2,500 of us in this convention center. I'm laying on the ground. I'm kind of grossed out about it because it's public and everything, but I'm laying on the ground.
Right.
Between the rows of chairs. And I saw this blonde man in like a cameo in my spiritual eye. And he was laughing. He had his head back and I didn't know who it was. And I'm like, like when she's asking, who are your guides and stuff. And so I'm standing in line at this bathroom right in the same room. And I look over and there's a blonde haired ascended master. I'm like, who is that?
Right.
And she said, oh, that's the Ek master, Gopal Das, Gopal Das. I had never heard it. I thought it was this Metatron. Is this
right
named Telios in Mount Shasta? Who is, and,
right.
And it was Gopal Das. And come to find out, Gopal Das is part of the Ekankar religion or of science and soul travel and all of that. It's a very deep experience. So they brought me to Vicky. Gopal Das brought me to Vicky.
Yes.
So I took Vicky and Jean's class. Okay. And Gopal Das is the one that taught her how to do it. And he's not on the planet anymore. He was in Egypt 5,000 years ago. So this is just so synchronistic and how we really don't have to worry anymore. We really don't have to have fear anymore. If we could just trust the divinity within us, and that's easy to say looking back, but when you're in life, right, in the present moment, you're not sure because you don't really trust yourself. So this work is very powerful. It's multidimensional body balancing. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I started with Reiki and I was working I lived in Longmont, working in Boulder, and I put up my little sign, like, I do Reiki, And so this person found my card and came to the house and I had my hands, I don't know, over her torso. And I heard on the inner transmosis. And I'm like, transmosis, what? And I had a whiteboard in my little sunroom where I worked and I wrote it down. And then anytime I went to like a group channeling or this or that, that was my question. And no one knows. No one could tell me what it means. Okay. So it's like trans and osmosis. What is this? Right. And so finally I asked myself, I asked the divine. And it's, in essence, it is the recipient on the table is elevated to the level of source, divine, God, creator, whatever you want to call it, that is most appropriate for them. So it's some sort of ability that I have that is like I'm a mediator or an intermediary to assist the person to be uplifted that is most appropriate for that person at that time. Okay. So transmosis is the assimilation of unconscious energies that uplift the recipient to the level of source that is most appropriate for that person. So basically, we clear out all the stuff that you don't need so you feel lighter. I think of it as spiritual hygiene. It's like getting an energy bath, a wash. It's like when you go to the sound healings and they're doing the bowls and it's like all the vibrations vibrate out all the stuff that you don't need. Yes. So with this work, with these etheric clearings, it's like 1% is physical. We're bones, body, all of that. But there's so much going on that we don't see, or I can't see, but I can feel and sense and perceive. Okay. And we all have had trauma or wounds or disconnects that happen in our life. And so with this work, it can connect you to the root cause of what's not working well in your life. Yeah. So a lot of times, let's say when I was a kid, I fell down and I cracked my little teeth, I was 2 years old, so they were baby teeth, so it was okay, but I had like this upside down V in my teeth. I don't know why this memory is coming back. And what happens is I'm always afraid I'm going to fall, right? And so it gets stuck in the past. That energy experience gets stuck in the past. And this is just my own way. Like I see I feel like there is a matrix, a graph paper all around us, like a field, a glob of energy that gets stuck there. It gets stuck in the past. So if energy gets stuck in the past and we're supposed to be present, sometimes we don't even realize that we're not present because we've got this stuff happening in the back that's just blocked or stuck energy. Okay. And what is fascinating with transmosis healing, which I've kind of taken, spirit mending, etheric clearings, multidimensional body balancing, and made it my own because it is coming through my vehicle. and purification and being is, I don't drink, I don't smoke. And not to say that I didn't do that before. I was really fun and I'm still fun. I don't need to do that.
Yes.
Because this work is very, very subtle. It's almost like soul homeopathy, like,
beautiful.
like cures like. So if you were on my table or you're sitting across from me and we're doing a session, we consecrate the session, we call in, and this I found to be most important. You call in 100% pure divine light. I always thought I was communicating with Saint Germain and all of these, ascended masters. But my first energetic clearing, Vicky said, oh, wait, we have to wait. There's a changing of the guard. When she called in 100% pure divine light to help me for my highest and greatest good for myself and for all concerned, there was an actual shuffling of energies. So when you command it, we don't even realize how powerful we are. When you command it with your voice, with your thoughts, with your feelings, it happens. It's like you can tell the chakras to line up, partner up and balance, and they do it. So if you call in 100% pure divine light, that's what comes. And so, and for some reason, I'm shifting in my mind to talk about the dark because, people are kind of afraid. There's love and fear. And with the dark, it's no big deal because, and I respect it, I'm not being flippant at all because I don't want to be attacked and have to overpower and be a warrior and all that stuff, but it exists. And that's what makes our world here whole.
Right.
Yeah. The light and the dark. And it's kind of like a construct that holds our reality together. And our job is to connect in the neutral space, which is our heart.
Yes.
So you send your energy all the way down through the chakra system and connect to the center of the earth.
Right.
And you stay connected. And then that beam or that Laowesh of light, that pillar of light comes up through the heart, and then it goes to the high heart and it goes out the crown, and you connect to source, the ocean of love, whatever you want to call it. And then you return to neutral in your heart. So you are heaven on earth. You are connected to above and below. We are that. And we forget how powerful we truly are. That's what's most confusing to me. Like, I've been me my whole life. Why is it that it's taken me so long to get it, to really realize that I have this ability to love myself, to not only just, as a female and a mother and a wife and all of that, you care for everybody else. And we kind of forget about ourselves. So personally, every day I call in 100% pure divine light, and I declare myself a vehicle, and you can use whatever words you want. But I declare myself a vehicle for the Sugmad, which is like the unity, like the source, like God. And I declare myself a vehicle for the Ek, which is like the Holy Spirit. It's like Reiki, the life, universal life force. It's everything. And then I declare myself a vehicle for my master. I call him the Mahanta. And it's just and then I have my own collective called Aliyah. I didn't even know it was a collective, but I think that I'm the local representative here. And I got those words from my dear friend in Toronto, Karina Shah, amazing mentor, amazing energy worker.
Beautiful.
I wouldn't say psychic. I would say just a knower. She's here to serve the planet. So I highly recommend Karina Shah. So, you're the local representative. And I'm sorry I'm rambling so much, but one time
Not at all.
One time I was in a workshop with Rebecca Skeel, a lovely mentor here in Santa Fe. And she said, why don't you guys, we were in like a hotel and we were in a U-shaped hotel room so we could see each other. And then we had these like little placards that we would make, like, what is our essence? What is our deal? What is it that we represent here? Or what do you want? And I wrote down soul alignment. And I put my little placard up there, and I was like, and she said, you are like you're at the Yuen and you represent soul alignment, and all the people behind you that you represent are in your tribe, in your cell. And it just makes a lot of sense. So for a long time, I had that little soul alignment thing on my bookshelf, and I would look at it and go, that's what I want. That's what I am.
Yeah. This is, thank you. This is very powerful. understanding around, that really resonates with me. So this notion that we forget, or we have a hard time remembering, what we really are, who we really are, right? So many wisdom traditions, current, I don't like the word new age, but because everything's ancient really, but it all comes back to that, doesn't it? It really is peeling away, whether you come through, I always like to say you can come through sort of the door of psychology, neuroscience, right? Spirituality, they all intersect in this one fundamental truth, which is that we have to come back home, right? To knowing who we are, peeling back all the layers, the process of energy work, clearing away those things that really don't belong to us, but we've taken on for lots of really important reasons, right? Yep. And then finding our way back to that core essence. And when we do, and we have an embodied experience of that, and this is where your description really does speak to me. It's the most amazing, comforting experience, right? It dissolves so much of that rumination, or even the stuff we're not even aware of we're carrying. For me, it's very subtle. It's like I'll have my days, and on the outward, I'm functioning really well, right? I'm getting all my stuff done. Then I'll just sort of be like, okay, whatever. And then I'll, I'll do a meditation practice, do some yoga, whatever it is, and then drop into a whole different reality, which is that we're part of something that is the same intelligence that I say keeps the planets in the sky, the same intelligence that we're watching here in the East, watching all the buds bloom and all the trees, start to become, new and evergreen.
Yeah.
We are that. It's like a warm blanket. And so what I hear is that connecting people to that experience, is what the power of the system does, right? I found more and more, if we do this work, it's not really magical because it's something that we all have by design, right? Like, what are some examples that, you like to work with that, common health issues, life challenges that you've had success with?
So people have experience, and those experiences that happened to us in our childhood served us. So you create a protective mechanism around you, whether it's thought, feelings, emotions, to not recreate that trauma or whatever. But everything is relationship. So you need to be in relationship with the divine and with yourself. And within us, what's the beauty of this work is I don't do it. I get to be the witness and the observer to call in the 100% pure divine light. It's like we call in your guides, my guides of 100% pure divine light. And then I get to be the voice of what I'm witnessing that is occurring. So you would tell me if we were having a session and I ask you to fill out this form. What do you want to work on? What are your symptoms? Whatever, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and anything else you want to share.
Okay.
Then through the training that I had through the multidimensional body balancing, there are so many avenues in which to go to what could be going on for an individual.
Right.
And I've had it where people have come to me and they go, I don't know, whatever spirit has to say. It's like, okay. Wait, what? And I can do that.
Right.
But at the same time, I really want to empower people, and I really want people to have self-responsibility for what's going on in their life, because we are co-creators with life.
Yes.
And so what I did is I distilled all the information of all the teaching that I had through Vicki and Jean's class, and I put it on what I call a map. And I know the viewers can't see it, but it's a lot of words. Yeah. And I did you before we started.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh, we're going to dive into that then. We'll dive into that.
And I won't, it's very confidential and it's very sacred, right? Yeah. But sometimes we have, so 80% of the time, all of our wounds and disconnects are stuck in 3 systems in our body: the nervous system, the endocrine system, and the chakra system. Now, I kind of had a bout back in February, like, is this Omicron? I don't know. But I noticed that it attacked the nervous system because I was exhausted. The mitochondria, I just was like exhausted. And I thought about that. I go, that makes total sense. That the nervous system is the first system, fight or flight or freeze, right? You want to get that in homeostasis back into balance.
Yep.
So there's the nervous system, but the nervous system, the nerves, the peripheral nerves feed the endocrine system, the glands, the thyroid, the adrenal, the pancreas, to send out all the chemical messengers to do their work in the body to keep balance going.
Right.
The endocrine system is connected to the chakra system. So and so I don't know where something is in somebody's body. So we have many bodies, and they're called inner bodies, but we always see the depiction of we have the physical, the superphysical, the astral or emotional, causal, which is like our past lives or memories or Akashic records. We have our mental body, etheric body, and then our soul body. But they're all inside. But they're holograms that look just like you, right?
Right. Yes. Thank you.
So most of the time, we have energetics that are affecting our life that aren't even ours. And you can learn that in the access consciousness, right? Is it mine? Clear it if it is. If it's not, return to sender with consciousness. Or if it's something else like the earth needs us, give it to her, right? So with this work, you tell me what you want to work on. I go in and I call in 100% pure divine line, and I just ask them to show me. And I use applied kinesiology or muscle testing. And I go, just show me what is for Christine's highest and greatest good for herself and for all concerned. It's not just about us. It's like, what is the best for everyone? Because I don't know.
Yes.
And so
beautiful.
Ancestral line, oftentimes we inherit things from our mother and our father's side of the family that's not even ours. And it comes through the DNA. It can come through the subconscious mind, thoughts, behaviors, traumas that aren't even ours. So that's typically where I start. Okay. And I find out, like on your father's side of the family, 20 generations back, I would call up that whole generational line and place them in the separation room and bind and gag all misqualified energies that are no longer serving you or them. And then we call in the purple transmuting container, and the purple light transmutes it. And I'm weird in the way that the symbols work for me. Do you remember that Jell-O that would separate into levels? When I see white on the bottom and dark purple on the top in a parfait glass, I know it's done. And so we take those energies that have been transmuted and we eject them to the place they've earned the right to be, because they have life. They keep living to continue on and never return to you or this reality. And then if you clear something like with the violet light, the violet consuming flame, clean, clear, cleanse, heal, harmonize, and balance on all levels, layers, timelines, and dimensions. And then sometimes you want to scramble, neutralize, and dissolve all negative holographic feeling pictures, cellular memories, beliefs, and statements. You just get it all done. Then the world, or the universe, likes a vacuum. So then you fill it back up with liquid golden light to heal and seal all those rips, tears, cracks, all those non-beneficial frequencies that we've cleared.
Yeah.
And then you anchor and hold with divine protection. So that's kind of a high level of one issue.
Beautiful.
And we're like a program in a way. And so if you're have a lack of time, and I'm working in the soul body of the nervous system, I might take that nervous system of your soul body, it looks just like you, and I put it in the fight or flight room, and we pull it down, restore, reset, regenerate, recalibrate, and integrate, and get rid of all of that sympathetic nervous system reaction so that the parasympathetic can return you to balance, and it stays. And of course, there's levels and layers with people. Things come up. Wow. And some people who are sick, like if I had a dear friend who had cancer, and I would see her every week, and we would just clear as much as we could before she transitioned. So her next life would be freer and lighter and easier.
When you have this map, which essentially is what you're saying, this more accurate depiction of the system, of the container, really, of the system, right? Yeah. How we access it's a game changer, right? In terms of what is possible. And that's, I think, the beauty of it. I would love to ask, what do you do on a regular basis? Because it's about, like anything else, you can eat a really good, healthy, nutritious meal, but if you're doing it like, kind of infrequently every once in a while, right, sure, you're not going to get the greatest benefit. So in the same way that when it comes to self-care, our energy self-care, maybe you could share a little bit about what you have learned works for you. And also if you could go on and maybe give us, what are some fundamental maintenance practices that you like to see your clients employ after they've done some work with you?
Yeah, I send everybody a Transmosis healing aftercare.
Yeah.
But be gentle with yourself. If you want to take an Epsom salt bath, make sure you hydrate with pure water and things like that. Every day, Jim and I meditate or contemplate. Every day. It's like brushing your teeth. That's how I connect. And the way I used to do it before I just did it with my own consciousness was to use an oracle deck or something, like, show me what I need to know today. And a card pops out, and gosh darn it, if it didn't make sense, right, for that day.
I love that. Yeah.
We live in Santa Fe in a beautiful home. And in our living room, we have paintings all around the living room. And I guess I'm going to plug myself for a second. But myself and two other authors, we wrote this book, The Magi Within, Unlocking the Gifts to the Inner Self. Thank you. I would invite our viewers to think of the alphabet, A through Z, and whatever letter comes to you, like K, kindness, just be with kindness all day long as a contemplative way to nurture yourself.
Right.
I will say that I reached out for help when I was having this really weird experience, and I have a lot of them. Inner experiences or emotions that I can't understand. And I think that emotions are the key to what's going on, and that you can ask. But sometimes you don't get answers because you're so overwhelmed in it, or at least I was. A couple of weeks ago, I had this experience where I was like, what is going on? Are there solar flares in the world? What is going on? I can't explain what's happening. All I did was wake up, and I would explain it as an emotion would be almost like an over amplified feeling of insecurity, but it wasn't that. And I couldn't resolve it. And I had a session with a friend who pulled in angel, Reiki, and it was lovely, and it soothed me. And it was very nurturing, but it was still happening afterwards. Okay. And I'm like, is there anyone on this planet that can help me? And I heard Patrick, my chiropractor, and I don't go to him because he's like so big energy. It's almost too much for my sensitivity. So I got that, call him. And I said, I'm having an expansion experience or something. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
So I got an appointment for the next day, which is fine, but I'm still in it. And I had to teach a satsang that night. So I was like, I'm going to do Transmosis on myself. So I went into the living room and I did my map, and I had everything circled. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, a lot.
So I sat down and I called in my guides of 100% pure divine light. And I asked for my highest and greatest good to be done for myself and for all concerned. And the high level note is I didn't have to go into all this nitty gritty in the map. What I was shown was a scene in my mind's eye of like snow, of like a snow fence. I could just see a little bit of a snow fence in the perimeter around my vision. And I think of that in Qigong, kidneys or fear and ice, and you're like trying to break up the fear and the ice. But I was in uncharted territory, and then all of a sudden this wind, like a blizzard or something, came, and it pretty much expanded me past the temporary fences. The snow fences were not working, and I went bigger. And then they showed me, like, from a soul perspective, looking down at this beautiful ocean water. It wasn't like big waves. It was like I was in a bay or a cove. And that watercolor was so interesting on the inner. It was like that crayon called Midnight Blue. So the sky gets that. I love that color. And then the sand was almost an orangey red. And then I kind of came out of it, and I'm like, okay, wait, now do I have to go back and clean up all this nitty gritty? And it was like, no, the light did it. Something happened that I cannot explain, that I helped myself with. And I record these sessions and I give the audios to people. I haven't re-listened to that session. So I'd be curious, because that's very multidimensional body balancing, multitasking in the brain to do it for yourself.
Yes.
But I think I channel, and I don't think it's channeling an entity. I think someone told me it's called chinning. You go up and get the information. And then whatever the recipient needs to hear or experience comes through. And it was a half an hour session. And I swear to God, I felt so much better afterwards. And I still needed support to integrate that big expansion that I had.
Okay.
But I didn't consciously ask for it. It was a graceful gift that's uncomfortable. So I got it. We think, oh, why can't we just heal 100% and be done and ascend and do all this stuff? And it's like, our bodies can't handle that. It's like, whoa.
Integration is such an important component of any healing work, right? Yep. I mean, even from the most basic, well, we could read a bunch of stuff and we can say, yes, that makes so much sense. I get that. But we're only going to be able to embody and really absorb only so much. So it's important, the analogy you're bringing in around energy work, around this subtle body work is, in a way, it's kind of comforting, because if someone's working with an energy healer, it's very assuring to let them know, that they know that you're only going to go so far within that which is best for you. In other words,
it's with love.
Yeah.
It's done with love by the divine.
Yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting point. Are there any, myths or maybe misconceptions around these experiences? Because from the outside looking in, they are very powerful. Mm-hmm. They are very, like you said, multidimensional. So we're working out, mental health, emotional health, right? Are there any myths or misconceptions, maybe some fear around folks who are trying to explore new energy healing modalities? What do you like to kind of make sure people understand?
Well, the main thing is that the light always prevails. Okay. Always. Mm-hmm. The light always prevails. And yes, darkness is here.
What is darkness?
So if you were on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is the light. Darkness would be 9 and below. And you could name them gargoyles, archdemons, I don't even like to give them attention. Mm-hmm. But one time I did work with a woman. She was an Asian woman who had this entity with her her entire life. And as God would make it happen, I was already living here in Santa Fe, and I went back to Colorado to take an entity class with Vicki and Jean in them.
Oh my goodness.
And so I'm done with the class, and then I go over to my friend's house in Niwot, and oh my God, I had to implement what I had just learned. Yeah. And I'm pretty brave. I'm pretty courageous, but this was something out of this world that I had never seen before. It was kind of like the Chinese Fudong dogs. It was, I could describe it. It was like gray. It had like pointed little ears and red eyes, and it wouldn't leave. And I was calling in everything I could. And finally, I just called on the Sugmod. I called in God, handle this, please. And then I got lost in the darkness during that session. And then it left, the purple transmuting flame got rid of it and it left. But sometimes, I will not create karma consciously. And I did everything that I could. I felt like it was a resurrection. In that session, it was one of the most powerful sessions.
What was the imbalance in her life?
Anger, lots of anger.
Lots of anger.
And
okay.
And behavioral issues that weren't even hers. It was ancient lineage. For myself, when I was having that big expansion experience, normally I would go back 20 generations in an ancestral line. I went back 135 generations on my father's side of the family. That was the number when I was muscle testing. I mean, I don't even know the story. We don't need to know the story. Let's just clean up the darkness. And so
that's beautiful.
And a lot of times we made vows in our past. A lot of times we've made contracts with the dark unknowingly. Okay. And a lot of times all we need to do is put it in call in 100% pure divine light. That is the main message, 100% pure divine light. And then I'm not suggesting anyone go out and do this on their own, but you call it up and you put it in the separation room, and we don't touch it. Right. The beings of light touch it and separate it out. And then we bind and gag it. Some people don't like that word, like contain it, but I bind and gag it. I don't want anything coming after me.
Yeah.
Transmute it and then eject it to the place it's earned the right to be, never to return to us or this reality. You've served your purpose, just like that accident or that abuse for a child. They create those mechanisms that serve them as a child, but they're not needed any longer. And you need to be free. We're all here for spiritual freedom, I believe.
Yes. Hallelujah. Great analogy. Great analogy. Great analogy. Yeah, exactly. We want to let go of all the survival mechanisms, right? And all the things that, protect us. Over time, they suffocate us, over time, they become, more and more what's distorting, again, coming back to that wisdom of who we are. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Thank you. So, when it comes to, the world that we're living in, these days, unprecedented time, certainly from a, consciousness standpoint, a lot of things being brought to the surface, things that, we all need to see and work with. But it can be overwhelming. Okay. And so I'm just going to mention, this is broadcasting in May. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, right?
Oh,
yeah. And so when it comes to all levels of healing, fundamental is our mindset, as we talk about it, because the interplay of emotions and mindset really has tremendous impact on the quality of everything we do in our lives, right?
Yes, yes.
So I would love to, if you would offer, what is a good reframe on how to work with our anxiety, how to work with all the challenges that are coming up right now. I don't know, just words of wisdom as you talk consciousness and healing. What's coming through for you right now that would be most helpful to hear?
I would encourage everyone to connect within and connect within their heart, because it's like your GPS system. It knows. And if you're angry, there's a reason that you're angry, because something is out of sync and it shouldn't be happening or something. You just need to trust yourself. And so how do you do that? You do that by connecting with yourself every day, calling in 100% pure divine light, asking for your highest and greatest good to be done every day, and not buying in. It's so hard to think that our world around us, the outer world, is real.
Yes.
Because it seems so real, but it isn't. And I don't know if I should offer a quick, nervous system, let's just clear it. And I've never done it for a group. Okay.
Let's try.
All right. So I would invite everyone to just have the feet on the floor, spine erect, or laying down, whatever works. And if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. And just breathe in and out of your heart chakra in the center of your chest, through the front and the back. And you breathe in, and so that it expands you on the inner, in through the front of the heart chakra and the back chakra. As you inhale, spirit is actually exhaling. And as you exhale in the same manner out the front and back of the heart chakra, you're exhaling and spirit is inhaling, and you're reconnecting to the divinity that is all around you. And send that energy from your heart space down through the solar plexus, the sacral chakra, the root chakra, through the earth star, into the center of the earth, and connect. And have that beautiful light come back up your Laoesh, your pillar of light, the rose gold light, all the way up through the earth star, through the root chakra, the sacral, the solar plexus, and the heart, and rising up through the high heart, the throat, the spiritual eye, out the crown, through the soul star, and into that ocean of love. And that looks like a beautiful white light beam. And have that energy come back down that white pillar through all the chakras and return to the heart and expand out and be as big and wide as possible as you are. And I want to call forth all the nervous systems. And I'm going to start in the soul body. We'll just do one sequence and protocol. We're going to call forth everyone's nervous system in the soul body. And I'm just kind of looking at it, and I see that we're pretty wrought. We're pretty worn out. We've been inundated through the outer world, through the media, et cetera, through our friends, through this pandemic, through the war, through all of these things that appear to be horrific. However, if we stay connected within our heart space, we know the truth, because we are alive, we are in our body, and we do have a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions coming up. But just know that you are in control, and you have the power, in concert with the 100% pure divine light guidance that you have with you. So looking at the fight or flight system, we're going to place you all into the holographic fight or flight room. And we're going to ask the angels and the ascended masters and the 100% pure divine light guidance to use the violet consuming flame and clean, clear, cleanse, heal, harmonize, and balance the nervous system on all levels, layers, timelines, and dimensions. And let's say we are supposed to be at a 0 or a 1, and you're at a 7 or an 8 or a 9. Everybody's different. But what happens is, being in the violet light here with the masters, they are pulling down and ejecting all of these energies that no longer serve you. And we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system to pull it down. And the dial, I started at 7. Perhaps someone is as high as 14. I don't know. But in the middle is 7. And it goes down to 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we're at 0. Our nervous system has been discharged of all of that stuff that no longer serves us. And as we bask in this neutrality, we want to restore, reset, regenerate, recalibrate, and integrate on all levels, layers, timelines, and dimensions. And while you're sitting there or lying there in the fight or flight room, I want to call forth, we have in our brain the 5-pack. And this is our pituitary, the pineal, the hypothalamus, the thalamus, and the pons. So I'm going to call forth the violet light to clean, clear, cleanse, heal, harmonize, and balance the 5-pack in our brain, eject any negative objects, reverse any and all negative thought forms. Clean, clear, cleanse, heal, harmonize, and balance on all levels, layers, timelines, and dimensions. And let's scramble, neutralize, and dissolve all negative holographic feeling pictures now. Scramble, neutralize, and dissolve all negative holographic cellular memories. And last, scramble, neutralize, and dissolve all negative holographic beliefs and statements. And come through that rainbow light waterfall to present time. The rainbow light waterfall of all the colors purifies and cleanses you and brings you into this present moment, purified and cleansed and clear. And now we're going to heal and seal with liquid golden light. And we're healing and sealing all the rips, tears, cracks, all non-beneficial frequencies that we've cleared. We're activating upward spirals. We're reversing any and all implosions and contractions. We're reversing any and all shearings. And now anchor and hold with divine protection of truth, wisdom, and healing love. You are this divine being. And now everybody looks like they're just a beautiful golden light in this encapsulated field of energy. And just as an added bonus, let's activate the D as in dog, D sharp shield, 2 to 6 octaves above middle C, 12 layers deep, polished on the inside and the outside. Only love can pass through that membrane that's around you. You can activate the D sharp shield, or you can just say, activate that shield Tracey talked about if you don't remember. And just go ahead and know that only love can come through that membrane. So you will reflect to yourself and see if you were thinking, feeling, and acting in a non-beneficial way for yourself and for all concerned, and you'll catch yourself. And the beauty on the polish of the outside is any negative energies coming towards you, you are protected because that consciousness sees itself and it's returned immediately. And I want to say, if there's any bodies out there, meaning etheric, mental, causal, astral, superficial, and physical, all of those bodies, let's replicate this protocol with the divine intelligence that knows for each person listening to this, if they need it in their mental body, it will go there in the exact right divine timing and the exact right divine potency. And I want to thank you all, and I want to thank our guides of 100% pure divine light and the light tools, the violet flame, the purple transmuting flame, the golden light, all of it. We are so grateful. Thank you. And I hope that helped and does continue to help. Play it over and over again if you like.
Thank you, Tracey. What a gift. What a powerful gift.
Thank you.
Letting you know, I feel really transported. I'm not sure what you're experiencing, but I'm
vibrating like crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That was powerful. And I guess that, thank you. Thank you. 2 takeaways that for me are really useful, are really important to highlight is asking to be a vehicle for divine light. Right. And I love that, because what that basically says is, kind of, there's a handing over energy around that. and there's a receiving. Let me be a good receptacle. Let me, clear away and put down anything so that I can receive that which is always wanting to be, for my highest good and be here for me. And that's so different from the got to make something happen, got to fix myself, got to manipulate, got to go get what I need and want, very different energy around that. Right. Yeah. So that's, those are some important ways that we can, work with all levels of our being. So thank you so much. And please share, put all this in the show notes, but is there anything maybe that you want to highlight, that people can learn more about you, experience you? Obviously you work telephonically and by
Zoom,
video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You go to my website, Tracey Whittet, Traceywhittet.com. You can schedule a session or you can read about it. And then as a bonus, I think it's on the page that says book. I have a free, there's like a minute video or something, and you can put your name and number or email in there and you get a free copy. It's just a PDF of the book, or you can buy it on Amazon called The Magi Within. And that is a tool that each and every person can use every day. Like I said, you pick a letter, A to Z, and work with the topic. And the artwork, I think, will be for sale someday soon. I'll put it on the website because that activates you too. Like C for creativity. That's the angel I got today, was creativity.
Love
I'm just going expansive.
It's a great way to move. Expansion. Yes. Thank you so much. All right. Well, Tracey, this has been amazing. It's been so valuable. I can't wait to share it. Thank you for everything. And I'm so glad that we met.
Me too. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you.